Joining us now is Okpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Janix.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. Hope you had a great weekend. Good morning, Tundu.
Good morning, Oji.
Great. Good morning, Rufai.
Fab, Oji. How are you?
Perfect. Thank you. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe. In Russia, President Vladimir Putin on Sunday said that the military operation in Ukraine will only be halted if his country's demands are met. He likened the West's sanctions on Russia to declaring war. While the police detained more than 4,000 people protesting against the Russian president's invasion of Ukraine, while President Volodymyr Zelensky appealed directly to Russians to take to the streets in protest against the invasion of his country. In Ukraine, a video showing stranded Nigerian students in Sumy State University lamenting over the hardship they face in the war-stricken country as they staged a protest while appealing for immediate evacuation in the heat of Russia's invasion of the country has gone viral.
We want to go home, and they are telling us, first of all, they increase the price of taxi. Who pays almost 2 million naira to go back to Poltava, a 2-hour journey? Anybody that is hearing this, from Kaduna to Abuja, 2 hours, you are telling me to pay 1 million naira. In Nigeria, reactions trailed President Muhammadu Buhari's departure to London for his routine medical checkup amid the fuel scarcity in the country. On Sunday, before his departure, the president assured Nigerians that the government is fully represented while he is away and that Vice President Yemi Osinbajo is constitutionally in charge of the country.
I cannot claim to be doing the work alone. The government is fully represented. The Vice President is there. Constitutionally, when I'm away, he's in charge.
Other sports. At least 22 people were wounded over the weekend when violence erupted in the stands of a Mexican football match that spilled onto the field. The game between Querétaro and Atlas at the La Corregidora Stadium was in the 63rd minute when the fight broke out between opposing fans. Finally, under entertainment, Afrobeat superstar Davido made history over the weekend after selling out the O2 Arena in London, which was renamed after the singer for the night. Davido thrilled over 20,000 fans at the show, performing alongside other Nigerian artists, including Mayokun, Zaltan, Adekunle Gold, and CK. Well, let's begin what's trending with reactions trailing the declaration made by former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who over the weekend said that most of the politicians aspiring to be Nigeria's president in 2023 ought to be jailed for corrupt practices. Obasanjo made the comment during an international symposium to mark his 85th birthday in Ogun State. The former president argued that if the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission had done their jobs properly with the support of the judiciary, many politicians jostling for political positions and their supporters should have been jailed, and that God is not to blame if we fail to get our priorities right in terms of nation building. Well, let's take some reactions. This is from Emma, who wrote, "The complexity of nation building demands that conscientious people use leadership to develop the nation. In Nigeria, leaders use the people to develop themselves, thus keeping the nation underdeveloped. So not only 2023 aspirants, but all those who have ruled and failed should be in jail." Dr. Bati, over to you for your analysis on the story.
Okay, very quickly. First, let's start by congratulating President Olusegun Obasanjo on his 85th birthday anniversary. And it was a major event, not surprisingly. From a football match, we saw, the statesman wearing a jersey. On another occasion, he was shown dancing. And then there was an event in Lagos yesterday, so he had great fun. And to see him still so energetic and healthy at 85 is something that is truly worth celebrating. But to go to the main substance, the point you referred to, what he said about the fight against corruption. Well, he said that within the context of a long peace, which was a statement he made on the occasion of his 85th birthday, the inauguration of the Africa Narrative Forum. And his presentation linked the whole idea of this Africa Narrative Forum to the Nigerian experience. And he had specific things to say about leadership in Africa and the need to have a forum, where we can take a look at the narratives of the past, linked to the present, and plan more strategically for the future. And it was in the process of saying that all of that he now identified where there are issues in Nigeria. He thinks that the country is drifting. There will be many people who will agree with him. He thinks that the country is not getting its priorities right. I don't think too many people will disagree with him on that score. But this reference to the war against corruption is just about 4 lines in an essay of almost 3,000 words.
Well, trust journalists to take that as
that has been
Yes.
isolated. Most of the reports just abandoned the main substance. But his main theme, is about looking at the African narrative and seeing how we can deepen our democratic experience, and now we can move forward. So that's just one of the examples that he gave.
Well, many analysts have said that he should remove the log in his eyes first before condemning people. And believe that he should also try to name the people that he's talking about, because leaving it in the open just appears to be unfair. Tundu.
That's how I feel. I'm thinking at my age, I don't throw subliminals. If I'm going to say something, I'm going to say it. You don't have to agree or approve, I don't care. So I cannot imagine at 85 throwing subs and shade. If you have a name to name, go ahead and name that person or those people. Because what he has done is inadvertently just smeared the whole class of people who are vying for the office of president, as he once did. But when I read the whole thing, and its context is very important, his whole address was not on that issue, but he did say those words, and that was not doctored. When I read it, fingers came to mind. That saying, when you point one finger, 4 are pointing back at you, definitely came to mind. I don't think President Obasanjo has ever known another public figure that he did not have a harsh word for. There's this supercilious streak that he seems to display that is somewhat off-putting. But on the other hand, I also think of, was it Malcolm X that said, when I'm pointing the way, people are looking at my finger. So we look at the message and not his finger. He's actually trying to pass across a particular message and say what he has to say. Just the way he goes about doing it, I find it grating.
Right. Rufai.
Truth has to be said. We need to introspect. We need to look backward. And I think I'd like to take the whole part of that speech. He was talking about the continued existence of this country, and he made very salient points. He talked about tribalism. He talked about interplay, what makes a nation. It is sad that a man that fought in the Civil War, a man that was former military leader in this country, a man that is 85 now, that is on his way out of the world, still doesn't see that the hopes and aspirations of Nigeria has been met. That's something we should all introspect. And what are the things that make it difficult to make this hope and aspirations of Nigeria possible? Things like corruption. So you see, the thing about corruption is we can eat and chew gum at the same time. So please, let us look deeply into this. And even past leaders, people that are found wanted, they should be investigated. So when he said that thing, I want the EFCC and other necessary agencies to take a look at corruption cases.
Or maybe even collaborate with him to find out what he's talking about.
When you want to look at corruption, there's a lot to go round. Even in the administration he was head of, there are many corruption cases. So let's look at this holistically. And it's not a big deal for a past leader to go to jail. It's not a big deal. A past or present or vying aspirant to go to jail. I'll give you the example of America. Up to the thick of the elections, James Comey was still investigating in America Hillary Clinton's files. Ehud Olmert, former leader of Israel, went to jail. What's his name? Bibi Netanyahu. There are corruption allegations against him. And if he's found wanting, he might go to jail.
Are you forgetting Zuma?
Oh, there is Jacob Zuma.
I have one more for you.
Just
Look at
next
my
door.
brain.
Julian.
Right. Oh,
So,
right.
please, there's no big deal.
Yes.
I think when somebody says something, we should all investigate it. And if it concerns you, they should also, let's go back in time. The corruption agencies can do their work. Let's sweep back to the return, even apart from the return of democracy. Let's investigate everything. Because you see, we want a clean Nigeria. And in cleaning the house, we must clean every part. You can't clean the living room without cleaning the room. Because then we can now sit on a better pedestal.
Right.
But it is shocking that when we say we want a new Nigeria in 2023, then we still have people that some other people allege might have corrupt cases, they should be in jail. So what does it mean? The standards are so low that people that might have corruption cases, that President Olusegun Obasanjo just think might be in jail, are people that will emerge.
Well said, Rufai. We shall take another story. Over the weekend, a video showing liters of premium motor spirit, petrol, being distributed in jerry cans as souvenirs at a party went viral. The video generated outrage amongst many Nigerians owing to the party organizers' flagrant disregard for the safety of their guests. The video has also caught the attention of the Lagos State Safety Commission, which in conjunction with the Rapid Response Squad sealed off the location of the party. Let's take a look at the video. This is so appalling. I mean, I believe that the woman has released a statement in, maybe apologizing, but I think that there should be some sort of action taken against her. This was really uncalled for. I believe even the musician was scared when he was performing, seeing those jerry cans shared.
I mean, as bad as she must feel on whoever the organizers and the event, the hall that has been closed down, as bad as they must feel, they really need to do a special Thanksgiving that nobody died.
Yes.
They could all have gone up in flames. I mean, these are flammable kegs sitting there where people might smoke. You know all these events, like behind the hall, somebody is frying small chops out there. I mean, this could have been a disaster that we're talking about.
Idea was
I don't understand it. But I'm also aware that since COVID-19, you have to pay a fee to Lagos State for them to send safety supervisors. So what happened there? An investigation must be launched. But with regards to the actual thought that was then executed, because it's one thing to think about it and laugh with your girlfriends. Oh, maybe I'm going to just share petrol and we laugh about it. But you don't actually do it, for crying out loud. With regard to the fact that it was actually done, it just goes to show what Nigeria has become. If that thought entered somebody's head, we're now in the dark ages, once again, of queuing for petrol.
Yes.
We had moved beyond that. That had not happened in Nigeria for years. And now we're back there. And this is one of the consequences. I'm just so relieved that it was not worse.
Yes, Rufai.
So, we're mad in this country. We don't know. We are mad. We've lost it totally. Do you know that jerry can is a derivative of petrol itself? It is petrol derivative that is used to make plastic. So it's a double whammy. And if you set fire on the jerry can, it burns like crazy. They now put petrol in it. They now put it in an event center where you have electricity.
Unbelievable.
On a stage. Because you want to show off, you want to feel the zeitgeist of the moment that there's fear scarcity, and you want to give people fuel in your party. What nation
was it a non-smoking venue? Were people smoking in there?
I don't know. I'm sure people would be smoking. It's a party.
And the place is just, you see, they will have put my life in jeopardy.
Yes.
The place is just close to my estate.
Yes.
I know a Villa Event Center. And please, the owners of the event, those that were supposed to check for safety, what did they do? We are mad in this. I don't know. The level of madness is another. This is not government now. Individually, we just become mad.
Yes.
What point are you trying to prove in a party?
Big manism. I love that word.
The point has been well made that this is very dangerous. And that petrol, as we all know, is very inflammable material. If anything had gone wrong in that place, lives would probably have been lost. Property will have been destroyed. But the lady, in her statement, she apologized. She said, but she meant well, that she just wanted to, assist people, knowing that there is fuel scarcity in the country. And this in itself is a reflection of the state of the country. There's so much deprivation. There's so much pressure. Do you know that in many of these parties, sometimes they even serve as souvenirs live chickens. So that apart from eating at the party, you take a live chicken home, to address hunger issues. But this is the limit of it. Because this is like, an attempt at suicide. Yeah. Yes. And then to see the people also, enthusiastically collecting the kegs of petrol. Because petrol has been very scarce in this country for about 1 month now.
Absolutely.
It's difficult for people to move about. I know that the GMD of NNPC has said, NNPC has launched a 24-hour operation at fuel stations across the country. But that should not move people to do this kind of thing. Now, the police commissioner in Lagos has asked that the persons involved in this should be arrested. I hope that includes the woman who was having a chieftaincy title ceremony and all the key participants in that event. The Avila Event Center in Uniru has also been shut down. So there should be an investigation. And, who gave the approval for this kind of event? Well, you may say that the state authorities, the Safety Commission, they may not know what will be distributed as souvenirs. Because usually they just do the normal checks and they insist on number. They ask you to pay a certain amount. They insist on people using face masks and sanitizers and all of that. But they don't actually go to events to enforce. Although during COVID,
that's a good point. But now they should.
There was a task force that used to go around. But that task force is no longer, functioning as it was the case during the COVID-19. Well, the fact that this has come to public knowledge now will probably discourage people.
Yeah, I hope so.
Because Nigerians will now know that no matter the difficulty, you are not allowed to be given fuel. If the woman was so connected, they say she's Chief Dr. Pierre Obulu, she's even taking a chieftaincy title from my constituency. If she was so well connected, she could have distributed fuel vouchers and make arrangements with a fuel station to say, oh, this fuel voucher, when you leave, go there and collect the fuel. But to put the fuel inside the jerry can.
Oh, no.
So
that's terrible.
You see, another part that I see is, it goes back to your favorite word, or the big manism. Why is it that in a fuel scarcity, some heads will be more equal than some? Some will have access to fuel when people don't have access to fuel.
Very good
you see, we can't build a country this way where some people are just over and above others.
Right.
So who is she? Who is she that she will have access to fuel when we are queuing? I was in the queue for 4 hours.
Well, what if she owns a petrol station?
And so?
If she owns a petrol station,
so she should sell it to the public.
She will have access to fuel.
And so she should sell it to the public.
But she could have given people fuel vouchers.
That would have been a lot tidier.
That's all
she should sell it to the public.
Fuel vouchers will have helped.
Okay, well, in another development, Nollywood actress Kate Henshaw has shared a video of her complaining about fuel scarcity.
For almost a month now, there's been no petrol. We were told it was bad fuel that was brought in, and then we were told that they will bring good fuel. And now it's the Russian-Ukraine war. It is so shameful. And with all due respect, we have Mr. President who doubles as the petroleum minister. He has jetted out to go and look after himself. Nobody cares. And we're just quiet. We're going to petrol stations, fighting ourselves, looking for a product that is not even there, and we don't even know when it's going to come. Nigerians, it's time we take our destiny in our hands. Go and get your PVC and stop listening to people that tell you that it does not matter, your vote does not count. If it doesn't count, they wouldn't buy your vote. Things are too bad. What are we going outside to do? You go outside, there's no petrol. You stay at home, there's no light. No heads have rolled for the bad petrol that came in. Nobody, nothing ever happens, no consequences whatsoever. But we are there managing. Manage until we enter the grave.
Yeah, really, she really has made a lot of points. She also talked about President Buhari jetting off to London amid the fuel scarcity and the fact that no one has, called out the fuel scarcity, the bad fuel that came into the country. No head has rolled.
I cannot argue with a single point that she made. We all feel her exasperation. And yes, even those of us who have drivers, Rufai, we feel it because you're sitting in traffic, even your driver is stuck in a queue. Everybody feels it. And I think I said earlier, a few minutes ago earlier on this show, that this should have been consigned to the dark ages by now. I cannot believe we are still here. The issue last month was about the adulterated fuel.
Yes.
Why does it linger for a whole month after? We heard then there was a flurry of activities, recrimination, blame, and all kinds of things, query, and then nothing, radio silence, and this continues to linger. Why? Nobody's explaining to the public. Nobody's been held accountable. I recall then, last month, hoping that people whose engines and generators had been damaged would have been paid compensation. Not about that either. So she's completely right. And then she's not just complaining, she's offering a solution.
Yes.
Long term, but a solution nonetheless. Go and get your PVC and get out there and vote. Because it does matter, it does count. We have had really abominably low voter participation statistics in this country, even in general elections. We're not even talking about just like a by-election of a local, local government. Presidential elections, we're looking at like 34% of the people who are registered to vote actually turning out. We need to be looking towards the 90s right now. This is crunch time. Everybody needs to come out and do what we have to do.
Absolutely.
Well, I guess she speaks the mind of everyone.
Yes.
She says we're managing, and that nobody cares. Well, I think the only caveat to add to this is that we have seen the GMD, the Group Managing Director of the NNPC, going from one fuel station to the other. And there's a video, out there in which he was interviewed by correspondents. And he said, look, the NNPC is working hard at it, and that there will be a 24-hour operation at NNPC depots, and that the expectation is that, within a matter of days, this will go. He also praised the Minister of Petroleum Resources, the President, and also the Minister of State. But, the average Nigerian who has suffered so much is likely to say, well, we have had this before. Because the NNPC had said they were bringing in 1.7 million liters of fuel, and that there was another maybe 2.7 billion that was on the way. Now, some vessels were turned back because even out of that, the fuel again was off specification fuel, just like repeating the offense. However, when this incident originally occurred, you recall that the marketers had said that it would take a while.
Yeah.
So the independent marketers, they've been proven right, because they said they needed to take out the off-specification fuel, and then incur cost, cleaning up their tanks and all of that, and this is what we're seeing being played out. But we just hope that the assurance that has been given by the Group Managing Director of the NNPC, would put an end to this nightmare that Nigerians are experiencing at this time.
Yeah, complete nightmare.
And the whole world must be laughing at us that it has got to a stage now where, fuel is now given out as souvenirs.
In an oil-producing
parties.
country?
Yeah. Well, I mean, another story that came, she posted this last week, Rufai, and I believe that was when the president was in Kenya and was supposed to go to London, but only yesterday he traveled and he talked about Vice President Yemi Osinbajo taking over. That was another detail that came out of this video from Kate Henshaw. I'd love for you to discuss that as well before we take
So truth is, we have
story.
a potpourri of problems in this country. And I'm very sad that Nigerians like to deceive themselves so much in all of this. And it cascades down. So the fuel scarcity, the fact that we even have bad fuel in the first place is just a microcosm of the Nigerian problem. The fact that we pay a lot in subsidy that the World Bank is saying now will go up to 4 trillion, and we have a 20 trillion budget. So close to 5 trillion of that will be spent on subsidy. The fact that we have so much oil, but we can't refine it. The fact that Gulf War, we had a windfall, isn't it?
Yes, we did.
Yom Kippur War in 73, we had a windfall when crude oil price went from $3 to $12 per barrel. But now that we have $139 per barrel, we are complaining that, oh, fuel shouldn't go up in price, because it will be bad for our economy. Then we had bad fuel last week, and guess what happened? They even listed a couple of oil companies. This, that. They called them to come talk. Those ones gave them a rebuttal, and they couldn't do anything. So today, we don't even know who was accountable for the bad fuel. Since the rebuttal, is that not self-deceit? We deceive ourselves so much in this country. Then while all of that went on, we didn't hear anything from the NNPC. All we always hear, I can almost predict the NNPC's response. We have released 1.5 billion liters of fuel. Yes, into the markets. It will cushion the effect. In the next 2 weeks, it will be solved. Nothing happened. He went to a month. Throughout last week, marketers were selling for 300-400 naira per liter. Some, they will say they will sell 165, you will pay 200 naira at the pump. People were suffering. The average price of petrol in this country was 250 naira per liter all through last week. Nothing happened though. It is after that happened that people have made a killing that we see the NNPC say we are going to investigate stations. They shouldn't sell more than 165 naira per liter. Are they going to bring anybody to book? Nothing. Zilch. Nada. Zero. And the beat goes on. We are always as good as our next fuel scarcity. It's just a matter of time. It will happen again. That's the sad reality of our country. So Kate Henshaw saying that, it's a reflection of the pains of yesteryears. You see, somebody was telling me a joke. He said, your country is so blessed. But God felt that the country will be so blessed. So we needed to balance it out.
Right.
And just watch the leadership. But we've not been blessed with good leaders over the years. We've not been blessed with responsive leaders that can solve the problem. You see, the problem of Nigeria is not rocket science. So why is he eluding everybody? We all know the problem of refineries all through the years. We've been dealing with this since the 90s. Since 1989, we've been talking about subsidy. A child that was born in 1989 should be married today.
Yeah.
So since 89, we couldn't solve the problem of subsidy. Then we are going through the cycle all over again. So we know our problems. And we also know how to deceive ourselves. And I just hope that we learn and we make those changes in 2023. And the election is not about the big money bags, but it's about the conscience of the people. But Tunde, you made a very strong point. How will people come out to vote? Isn't it indicative in Ukraine? Nigeria said they were ready to die in a war than to come back to Nigeria. What does that say to you?
Huge indictment.
That they were ready, despite the fact that the federal government went out of way to provide a plane for them, but they said no. Did you hear what the Romanian ambassador said? Over 1,000 people processed, only 400 came back, over 600 want to stay back. So more than half of the people prefer to stay back than to come back. We need to ask ourselves, what do we want for our country? This country is great, it's blessed, it will prosper, it will succeed, but it starts with all of us. And the leadership, most importantly.
Fantastic. Well, I guess that's all I'll have for you guys because of time on what's trending today.
Thank you very much, Ojineka.
Sure, thank you.
Tomorrow. Ojineka.